Hi guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Smash Knits Knitting Podcast. We are at episode 22 now, and I am excited to be here today to walk you through everything that I've been working on in the last month, because it has been a month since I last saw you guys. My last video was my Bendigo vlog where I went to the Australian Sheep and Wool Show. If you haven't watched that, feel free to check that out. I'll have that linked at the end of this video, or you can jump over to my main page of my channel and check that out. But yeah, it's been a while, so I haven't given you an update. So I've got a few whips that you haven't seen before, and a few finished objects actually that you guys haven't seen before. I don't want to waste too much time because we've got quite a bit to go through, but before I get into it, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land, the Boonwurrung people of the Kulin Nation, and pay my respects to elders past and present. So, like I said before, it has been about a month since I made a video, and that's because I've just been feeling a little bit down, a little bit burnt out. Sometimes just everything catches up with you. Work, social events, YouTube, it all just kind of catches up to you and you get a bit overwhelmed, and I just wasn't in the right headspace to post on Instagram or on social media or make YouTube videos. So I allowed myself to kind of step back for about a month, kind of refresh, breathe, kind of orientate myself, think about things a bit more, do a bit of self-care, and now I'm back and feeling better. I'm not 100% better, obviously, because that would be a miracle, but I definitely am, obviously have the energy now to be able to make videos for you guys, because I really do enjoy it, and I love the community and everyone who's reached out to me and shown me support. It means so much to me, it truly does. So I just wanted to give you a brief update as to why I have kind of not been posting very much recently. So with coming back to YouTube, I'm also going to be posting on Instagram again. So if you haven't seen my Instagram before, my Instagram is smash.knits, and there I provide more regular updates on the whips that I'm working on in between knitting podcasts. So I'll have that link down below, but I'll also have it on the screen somewhere. I would usually do a word of the month, but this month I just didn't have the energy to find a good one. And if you have been on the internet recently, you know that there's these little monster keychains called Labubus that have been going around. It's been a huge topic of overconsumption and things like that, but I was curious, so I pre-ordered one 6 weeks ago, and it arrived yesterday, and I opened it up, and this is my cute little Labubu. It's so cute. It's just a little keychain. It is ridiculously overhyped, and people really go crazy. I only ordered one, but they come in these blind boxes, so you don't know what color you're gonna get. It's kind of low-key gambling, to be honest, when people buy lots hoping to get the one that they want. But I just bought one because I was I really just want one. And the reason why I wanted one was so that I could make little sweaters and outfits so that it could match me and I could wear it on my bag. The whole thing is that you wear them on your bag, and they're meant to look kind of ugly cute. That's why they look like that. Anyway, I got a little blue one, and so I thought instead of doing a word of the month, can you guys help me name him? So I don't know what to name him. I keep calling him a he, so I think the vibes are he vibes. It's a little guy. And originally I was thinking something blue themed. And then I think I said Juno, and then John was what about Bluno? And Bluno is just that's where our level of creativity is right now with the name. So I really need help with naming my little Labubu that I'm going to make little clothes for and hang it on my bag. I've already started to make a little cardigan. I haven't included this as a whip because it's literally the smallest amount of progress, but this is the little cardigan that I'm currently working on for them. Yeah, if you can help me name my little monster, that would be excellent. So that's what we're going to be doing instead of doing a word of the month, because I need help figuring out a name. So please comment down below what you think I should name my little blue Labubu. That is something I never thought I would say on my channel. But anyway, As always, all the links are going to be down below in the description box. I'll have all of my links for my Ravelry projects with all of the yarn listed, the sizes, the needles, all the details down there. And then I also have a list of size inclusive Ravelry patterns that I put in a bundle down below as well, because this is a size inclusive space where I talk about size inclusive patterns. So yes, let's not waste any more of your time and let's get straight into the finished objects. So the first finished object that I'm going to talk about today is my self-drafted thermal stitch socks. Here they are. Ah, they are glorious. They are so, so beautiful. I'm so happy with them. Eee. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'll give you a close-up later. So these are a thermal stitch sock pattern. So essentially, I was inspired by the Grampa socks by Alicia Plummer. Someone had commented on one of my videos recommending that pattern, and I went and checked it out, and I really liked it, but the heel construction kind of wasn't what I was looking for, and I also kind of didn't want to pay money for a stitch pattern that seemed really simple. So I have the All Around Stitch Dictionary by Wendy Bernard, and I found that the pattern, the stitch pattern, sorry, I should say, that is used in those socks is called thermal stitch, and thermal stitch is essentially just knitting 2 rows of knit 2, purl 2, and then 2 rows of stockinette, and that's how you get that really cool kind of broken rib-ish texture. So I took that stitch pattern from the Stitch Dictionary, and just input it into Summer Lee's basic sock pattern, which is like a free vanilla sock pattern. And that's how I produced these. And they're just so cute and I really love them. Now, last time you saw these were still a whip, and I had created a Ravelry project page with all the information on how to make these socks in them. So I put all of the notes and how to do the stitch pattern and the stitch counts that I used and everything like that. That's all in my Ravelry project page that will be linked down in the description below. Quite a few people checked it out, which is really cool. And a couple of people have already made their version of these thermal stitch socks from my Ravelry notes, which is really cool to see. So I love seeing that. It makes me kind of want to design a sock pattern in the future, but I'm so kind of in my head where I want to do something different, but I can't think of something good enough to do, you know? Anyway, I will give you a close-up look so you can see how it looks once finished, but we've got about 20 rows of 2x2 ribbing that leads into the thermal stitch pattern. Then we have the just like a normal slip stitch heel and gusset. These are top down, by the way. And then that just flows into the thermal stitch pattern on the top, stockinette on the bottom, and then just like a normal toe. And I just love these and they feel super soft. I'm using Hedgehog Fibres sock in Avo, which is this really beautiful creamy green color. Such a stunning color. It's really, really pretty. Yeah, you know me, I love Hedgehog Fibres sock because it's just super soft. Like, it's soft when you're knitting with it, but it's really lovely and plump and soft once you've locked your socks. It's really, really pretty. And it feels really soft because it is like a 90% superwash merino and 10% nylon base. So it's got a higher percentage of merino, which might be why it's so soft. But yeah, I'm super stoked with how these turned out. I think they are just the most gorgeous creamy avocado green socks. I can't wait to wear them. I've obviously been waiting to film this so that I can wear them. And one thing I really like about the tonals of Hedgehog Fibres, and most hand-dyed tonals are like this, is that, yeah, it's like not perfectly solid. It has a tiny, tiny, tiny light amount of variegation, which I think just like adds a bit more dimension to the colors when you're knitting with a plain color. So pretty. I really, really love them. Love Hedgehog Fibres. Always so gorgeous. Now, I used about 82 grams, so 328 meters to make these socks. I did a 62 stitch cast on, so like kind of a size large sock, and that's how much yarn I used. It's a fingering 4-ply, and you get about 400 meters in 100 grams. So I have about 18 grams left of this. I'll probably just use this as a contrast color for another pair of socks I'll do. And for the entire sock, I just use 2.25mm needles. I use circular needles like these, the 9-inch circulars. These aren't the 2.25, but that's what I use, the Chiagu needles. I know some people find it difficult to use them because they are quite small and sometimes people's hands cramp, but I learnt how to knit socks using them, so it's just more comfortable for me, and I find that I knit quicker because I'm not having to deal with like double pointed needles. Also, I thought I would show you what I use to block my socks because I realized I don't think I've ever shown you guys, but this is what I use to block my socks. So these are the sock blockers that I use, and they're just a metal frame sock blocker, like very, very basic. They just hang up, and I usually just lay them flat on my blocking mats with the socks in them, and yeah, they do the trick. Nothing too fancy. I really, really like the ones that 1121 Windmills does with like the flowers. So, so pretty. But I haven't had a chance to buy them because they sell out so quickly. So hopefully next time she does put them up, I will get some. So this next finished object that I'm about to show you, you haven't actually seen before. You've seen the yarn because it was an acquisition in my last podcast episode, but now there is a finished object, and that is this. And no, it is not a croissant. It is actually a really beautiful textured scarf. Oh, it's so pretty. Super, super pretty and super fluffy. Now this is the Stay Toasty scarf by Veronika Lindberg, aka Katova Kika. And it's a beautiful DK weight textured scarf with an I-cord edge. It's so, so pretty. Now, you can see here the texture is like a 1x1 rib, and then it has these kind of pearl rows, which give it this really cool overall texture pattern. But because it's a very simple pattern, it's not very difficult to do. You don't have to really keep track of much, like in terms of charts, like you don't really have to pay too much attention, but it is so, so beautiful. I'm so obsessed with it. Now, this was a cast on project that I cast on near Bendigo because I wanted to do it over Bendigo. I wanted something simple I could do in the car, not too big like a sweater, but I actually ended up having so much fun knitting it that I finished it before we even got to Bendigo. However, the bright side of that is that I got to wear it at Bendigo. So you would see if you follow me on Instagram or watch my Bendigo vlog, I did wear this on the second day, and it was so lovely and toasty and warm. And it's just so pretty. I'm so obsessed with it. It's so gorgeous. I don't know how to show this to you, but it's so pretty. It's super, super soft and lovely. Oh, I'm so in love with it. And I love that it's really pointy. I feel like sometimes, I think it's the Sophie scarf or some Sari Nordland shawls that I've done aren't super pointy, and I like that this is really pointy, that you start off with like very little and then slowly increase. Like I mentioned before, I had actually shown the yarn that I used for this as an acquisition in my last podcast, and that is the CaMaRose Midnatssol in 9572 in the color Candyfloss, which is this really beautiful light kind of pinky lavender. It's really, really pretty. And this is a lace. It's a 2-ply lace. It's 54% alpaca, 10% merino, and 36% lyocell, which is a combination I had never used before. And I picked this up at the Coburg yarn market because Ziggo Zaggo had a stand there and was selling this. They also had this at Bendigo as well. And when you first feel it, it's soft and it's really lovely, but it really feels super soft and softens up even more when you block it. It's really a lovely alternative to mohair. It wasn't itchy at all, and it is a really good price. Like this is only $12 Australian, which I think is like probably like $9 US, and you get 200 meters per 25 grams. So really good price. And I held that with the Tole Matin Toe Sock 75 in Pétale, which is like this really beautiful variegated lavendery, pinky lavendery color. It's It's really pretty with all these like gorgeous speckles. There's some speckles of like pink and purple and a little bit of bright blue in there. And this is a fingering 4-ply. It's 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. You get 425 meters per 100 grams. I bought these two together thinking that I was going to use all 400 grams because when I was looking at the pattern on Ravelry, it says between 200 and 400 grams. And I just thought that that meant that like it used 400 grams of DK weight because that's what it said, but it was actually 200 grams of DK weight and 400 grams if you're like combining both the like lace weight quantity and the fingering weight quantity together. So I was knitting through this and thinking, why do I have so much yarn left over? I feel like I should have way less yarn left over, but that's why, because I misread the Ravelry quantity amounts, but that's okay because now I have lots over, and if I did want to gift one or make like something else with this, I have plenty left over. Like I've only used about 21 grams, so 171 meters of the Midnatssol, and then I used 165.8 meters which is 39 grams of the toe sock. So I could probably make like a shorty pair of socks with this, which is really good because I really loved le matin variegated, well, not really variegated, but speckled yarn because the speckling is really even and really beautiful. I've made socks before in that base, but in like a peachy color that I got from Bendigo last year. And I just love the variegation. I just love the speckling. It's just very even. And you can even see in this scarf that there's not really like mass amounts of pooling. It's like all very like evenly distributed, even though you're getting like smaller. It's really nice. I really, really love it. It's a beautiful combo and it like drapes really lovely, like very drapey, very soft, and it feels really lovely and lightweight. There is another version of the Stay Toasty scarf that's like a thicker version. I think it's worsted, and I wouldn't mind making one of those as well. I think it's a really good alternative to the Sophie scarf. So I'm rolling this up, that's why I'm looking down. I think it's a really good alternative to the Sophie scarf or Sophie shawl or whatever, because it's just a little bit more interesting and a little bit more different. It just has like that textured appeal to it. You know, I love garter stitch, but sometimes when you see the same thing over and over again, you just crave something different, and I think this is a really good option. The instructions were really clear. I was not confused at any point, and it's a very easy, quick knit. Yeah, I didn't have any issues, and I really, really enjoy this yarn combo, and I'm looking forward to maybe making like a thicker one in the future. Oh, I didn't mention what needle size I used. I used a 3.75 millimeter needle. The original size that she recommends is 3.5, but I went up because I felt like my gauge was a little bit small. The only bad thing about working with yarn is that it always feels like you have like a fibre on your face. It drives me nuts a little bit. Alrighty, so the next finished object is kind of like a two finished objects for one kind of situation, because they are both the Melbourne mitts by Kath Martin, or the Mindful Melbourne Maker. Kath has been a friend of mine for a while now in the knitting community, and I got to catch up with her and spend some time with her at Bendigo. And before I went to Bendigo, I wanted to make one of her patterns, and that was the Melbourne mitts. So I've got a couple to show you because I've made two variations of them. So the Melbourne mitts are a DK fingerless glove, and they have like 2x2 ribbing on the finger and the wrist and the little thumb, but they also have this kind of, actually I can put these on for you. That would probably be a bit more helpful, but they have these really pretty rib details with that aligns with the 2x2 ribbing, and they're really cozy and really comfy. So I made these ones, which are in the size medium, and I made them with 3.5 millimeter needles for like the main part of the hand, and then 3 millimeter needles for the ribbing up the top and the bottom. Now I made these ones with the Fibre Naturally Alpaca Allure Sheer Luxury 8x in Manna Gum, which is this really beautiful light green with these Oh, actually, I think it's like the ones with the Sari silk in them. So it's got like the little bits of Sari silk. I wonder if I show you on the ball, if it shows better that there's these little kind of speckles of Sari silk twisted throughout it, and it's a really beautiful soft base. It's majority alpaca, but then it has obviously the little bits of Sari silk in it, and it's super soft and really lovely and warm. I'll put them both on for you so you can see. And these were just a really easy quick knit. I've had this Sari silk alpaca blend yarn in my stash for a very long time, and I've just been wanting to use it, so I just thought, oh yeah, this will be a good excuse to use it and keep my hands warm at Bendigo, because it can get very cold there. The first year I went, it was freezing and windy. The second year it was beautiful and sunny, so you never know what you're going to get. But now I have some really lovely gloves that I can take to footy, actually, because John's little brother is in his footy finals and it gets quite windy and cold, so they're really handy to take there. Now, I also wanted to make a pair to match my midland neck, and so I decided to make some again, but without the 2x2 ribbing detail and with 1x1 ribbing, so that I could match the ribbing on that dicky neck thing. And that's these ones, and they're so fluffy and pretty as well. Oh my god, so pretty. So I just pretty much replaced the 2x2 ribbing with 1x1 ribbing and didn't do that 2x2 ribbing detail. I just left it, and that's them together, and they're super fluffy and super pretty. I really love them. It's a really well written, simple design. I had no trouble whatsoever following the instructions. They were really clearly laid out, so the pattern was really excellent. I think she also has Melbourne mitts, but in a fingering version as well, and I think I bought that one too, because if you buy the fingering and DK patterns together, you get like a discount. So I ended up buying both, and yeah, so pretty. So I used the same yarn that I used in my midland neck, which was the Qing Fibre Super Soft Sock, which is this one in the colorway Cherry Hill. And this is a fingering 4-ply, which is 80% merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon, and you get 400 meters per 100 grams. So pretty. And then I use that in combination with the Knitting for Olive Soft Silk Mohair and Poppy Rose. And that one is 70% mohair and 30% silk. And this is how much I have left. So I had very little left over, but I wanted to use it as much as possible. And that's why I decided to make these gloves, because these gloves only use like about 120-ish meters of DK weight yarn. So very, very small amount of yarn, but very effective and very cute. You can tell kind of that while I was doing this one, I kind of ran out of the first kind of leftover ball I had and ended up using another ball of the Cherry Hill. And so it is a little bit more green on this one, but I don't think it's green enough for anyone to notice. But yeah, very, very cute, very simple. And I'm very happy with them. They take like no time to knit up, and I used, for the most of it, other than the thumb, I used the 9-inch circular needle, and then for the thumb I used double pointed needles. Okay, so I had to quickly change the battery so that we could get into the whips. Alrighty, so the first whip that I want to show you, you saw last time, and oop, this is not the right bag. Hang on. Now I actually have the right bag. That's when you know you have too many project bags, when you don't know which one you're picking up. But what's in here is my poet scarf by Sari Nordland. So you can see that I've actually made progress on it because I've remembered to use a progress keeper. This is a gorgeous little stitch marker that I got gifted by Gem's craft shop. Gemma is so lovely and she makes the cutest stitch markers, and this one's fairy bread, which if you're Australian you know that this is like an Australian classic at every single birthday party, kid or adult pretty much. And it's so cute, and it's just keeping my poet scarf company for now to show you that I actually have made progress on it, because sometimes with these pattern shawls it feels like you're not getting anywhere because it takes so long to do. But yes, this is the Poet Scarf by Sari Nordland. It is a triangular lacework scarf with a 2-stitch I-corded edge. Just like most scarves that Sari Nordland does, you start at the tip and then work your way out. It's really, really beautiful. You can see that it's got these lovely kind of flower motifs with the lace, and then it has in between the kind of flowing leaves this beautiful broken seed stitch detail. It's super beautiful. I'm so in love with it, and I'm making it in this gorgeous color called Poppy Blue by Knitting for Olive. It's in their merino base. It's a fingering weight, and I'm holding 2 together. So this is what the color looks like. It's so beautiful. It's just a gorgeous cornflower color. I'm so in love with it. I was lucky enough to get this gifted to me for Christmas, and I'm so glad that I found the perfect project for it because it is so beautiful. So I've made a good chunk of progress. Like you can see there, like all of that is new progress. So I'm very happy, and I feel like now you can start to see the pattern a bit more clearly. It's so beautiful. Very much in love. Now this is more of like a shawlette style, so it is meant to be shorter, but I am going to do a few extra repeats to make it longer because I want it to be able to like wrap around just a little bit or just be a bit more bulky and not necessarily like kind of like a skinnier shawlette like this, but a bit more long. And you can really see like what I mean when I say like some are a bit more thicker at the bottom versus this Stay Toasty scarf, which is very narrow. But anyway, yes, that's just a quick little brief update. It's not a mindless knit, this one, so I do have to pay attention when I'm knitting it and make sure that I am doing the repeats correctly because there is lace involved, and I feel like sometimes when there's lace, it can be a bit more complicated than cables to fix, but I'm just really loving how it's looking. I hope this is translating because the blue is just so magical. Ugh, I love this blue. I want to make a whole sweater out of this blue one day, but for now, I'm making this beautiful scarf. I'm using my 3.5mm needles for this, and that I think is the recommended needle size for that particular project with scarves and stuff like that. Unless I really feel there's a difference in gauge, I'll usually stick to the recommended needle size. Alrighty, so the next one is a really exciting one. If you know me, you know that I'm a big fan of Summer Lee. I love her sock designs. I'm very much a Summer Lee stan, and recently she finished up her first volume of the Colorwork Cuff Club. I've made quite a few of them. If you're not already familiar with Summer Lee's Colorwork Cuff Club, what it is essentially you buy the Colorwork Cuff pattern once, and each month for a year she releases a new colorwork chart, and you can input that into like a base sock pattern that she's provided to you, and it's really fun. It's a really good way to like practice colorwork knitting without too much investment, because like with a sweater sometimes that's a lot of work, so a sock is something like really quick and easy that you can kind of practice doing colorwork on, and it's just really fun because you can get creative. I feel like a lot more people are more willing to use more like colorful, bright colors with socks rather than with sweaters. It's just really fun. I really enjoyed it. I didn't do colorwork really before doing this, and it really has improved my skills over the course of a year. So she did it from August of 2024 to August, 12 months. So July 2025. And so in August of 2025, she released the Colorwork Cuff Club Volume 2. And I was definitely going to get it because how could I not? I enjoyed the first year so much. I definitely knew that I was going to get the second year, but I was in the middle of making some socks anyway. So I hadn't purchased it yet. Then I was chilling in bed one night and I got a notification through my email, and Michaela from Stitches and Stem, which is a fantastic podcast. I watch pretty much every episode of her podcast because she's so analytical and gives so much valid, good information. She gifted me the pattern. She said that she enjoyed watching me make the Colorwork Cuff Club socks so much that she wanted to give me the pattern so that I could make them this year as well, like for the coming year. And I just thought that was so lovely and so special. And honestly, I teared up when I saw that come through because I make these things obviously for myself, but sharing them with you is part of the journey. And I just forget sometimes that people also enjoy seeing it as much as I enjoy making it. So it just felt so generous of her to give me that pattern. So thank you so much, Michaela. If you do not follow her already or have not seen her videos, please check her out. It's Stitches and Stem on YouTube and on Instagram. And she is so fantastic. She makes beautiful projects. She's always so thoughtful with how she selects the patterns and the yarns, and she's just really fascinating to watch. She provides really good insight. So please do check her out because she is a gem. So of course I was so excited once I had been gifted that pattern to start. I know one of my goals this year was to only knit one sock pattern at a time. I was kind of halfway through my thermal stitch socks, so I was feeling a little bit like, oh, maybe I should finish those first, but nah, I threw that all to the wind and decided to cast on pretty much immediately once I saw that I had that pattern in my Ravelry library. So this is kind of a failed project, but we did redeem ourselves, but our initial attempt was a fail. Now, when I went to Bendigo, I bought some sock yarn from the kind of back room bins that were on discount. They were only like $11 or $12 a ball, and I got them in these really nice colors. This like beautiful red and green and blue. I'll have all of these linked on my Ravelry stash. I have all my yarn in my Ravelry stash, so if you're ever wondering what yarn I used, I have it all in there. But I had these 3 colors and I kind of wanted to use them for this pattern because this Colorwork Cuff Club for August is a really beautiful kind of, I don't know if it's a tulip, but it's a floral pattern and it's really pretty. Summer Lee, she does it with like a few different colors, and she also did like a single color one. And it was just so pretty. I really wanted to try the multicolored one. I was kind of inspired by, you know, those Scandinavian blue doors that are like painted with different like floral motifs. I was kind of inspired by that and thought maybe I'll do like the blue as the base and do the red and the green as the flowers. And this is what I got. So it's not terrible. You know, it's not the worst. It's okay. But I just really wasn't living for it. My initial gripe with it was that maybe the green just like wasn't contrasting enough with the blue so that you couldn't really see it clearly. But I think the more that I worked on it, the more I kind of felt like my tension was really uneven, and just I wasn't completely confident that blocking it would fix all of these horrible tension issues, as well as like where you start the pattern. I don't know what I was doing, but you can see that there's this one kind of flower that looks like it's been stepped on. Yeah, so I just wasn't happy, and the more I knit on it, the more I tried to convince myself that it was good and that I liked it. And you can see that I got all the way like to the heel. I did the heel and was like doing the decreases, and I just kind of decided, no, I really don't like this. It just wasn't giving. It wasn't giving. Another thing is that like the Bendigo Woolen Mills yarn is a little bit rustic. It's not like rough, but it's definitely, because I was knitting on the Hedgehog Fibres sock at the time, it just emphasized how not soft this was. And feeling it now, I'm like, oh, it's fine. It's no big deal. But I think at the time, because I was knitting them adjacent to each other, it just seemed like this was a lot more rustic. Feeling it now, it's actually fine. Yeah, it's a really pretty color and everything like that, but it just wasn't doing it for me. So I decided to take my needles out and I'm going to rip it back. But I wanted to show you guys like my failed attempt to kind of show that it's okay if you start something and you get like over halfway through and you don't like it. It's okay, because at the end of the day, you want to be enjoying the things that you make. So if it doesn't work out, it's all right. Get rid of it and start it again. And that's what I did. I decided that I was going to go in a different route because I felt like my tension was uneven. I thought maybe I will just stick with doing a single color work. That way I don't have to worry too much about my tension, and maybe I could help that one connecting flower look less like it's been stomped on. And I've had this really bright, beautiful orange yarn in my stash for quite a while. It's like a fluoro orange, and this is Twisted Ambition Sweet Sock in the color Sunrise, and it's so pretty. I got this from Little Woolies, and I've had it in my stash for quite a while because I just think this orange is so gorgeous. I've tried to use it in a couple of socks previously as like a contrast color, but I couldn't really find a good sock. Like every time I tried to use it, it just wasn't working, or it didn't contrast enough, or it just didn't look right. But I still really wanted to use it because I think it's a gorgeous color. And I saw that in one of Summer Lee's designs, she did like a really dark muted color for the flowers and did like a bright color for the main color. So I thought I would do kind of a similar thing. And I had this, which is Rosarius for Maya in the color 25. And it's this kind of rusty orange color that I used when I made John's Colorwork Cuff Club socks for October. They were like little ghosts. It was really cute. And I have this beautiful color, and I thought, you know what, these are kind of like, if you really muted and muddied up this orangey color, these would kind of work together. So that's what I did, and I'm much, much happier with this. So this is it now. And even though you can see that like my knitting tension isn't the best, I still feel like this still has a chance of it being neatened up while blocked out. And I think this looks really good in the end. I'm very happy I decided to change up my mind and do the really dark contrast with the bright, because I think it just stands out way more. And I think from a distance, it's just more effective and it looks better. I'm excited to get these off the needles and start wearing them. I do find that like with the longer floats, they are a bit tighter on my foot, and with like longer colorwork cuff sections, they can be quite tight, but I feel like that also helps with it staying on your heel. So my Colorwork Cuff Club socks are actually some of my favorite to wear with Birkenstocks, because they don't fall down on my ankle as much as some of my other regular vanilla socks do. So I'm very excited to have these to wear with my Birkenstocks. But yeah, it's coming along really well. And even though it is a larger chart because you're having to do like 2 rows, it doesn't feel too bad. And if you do the single color, there's less floats to pick up than there is doing the 3 color one. But the 3 color ones do look fabulous, and I think I will end up making them eventually once I kind of have an idea of what color ways I want to do. Like all of the Colorwork Cuff Clubs, they have 2x1 ribbing at the top, then you have your colorwork cuff, and then you have a few rounds of stockinette before you go into the heel flap and gusset, and then I'm pretty much halfway through the foot, and then soon I'll be able to do the toe and move on to the next one. And to give you a bit more information about the yarn, we've got obviously this Twisted Ambition Sweet Sock in Sunrise. This is a classic 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. It's a 3-ply fingering actually, and you get 423 meters per 100 grams. This is my first time using this like in a sock, and yeah, I really like it so far. My tension's a bit uneven, but I think that's more because my tension kind of changes with my mood. Obviously, if I'm more stressed, I'm more tense. So I want to wait till I block this before I make my final decision about how I feel about this yarn. But so far, I like it. I like to knit with it. It's soft, and the ply is really nice and smooth. Then this is Rosarius for Maya, and this is a sport weight, so it's a 5-ply. I actually like using this for colorwork because I feel like it fills it out a bit more, especially because with colorwork, I would usually use a 2.75 millimeter needle. So if you're using like a light fingering, it can be a bit gappy or gapey or a bit see-through, I guess. But with a 5-ply, using that for colorwork, it does kind of fill in and make the colorwork look a bit more solid. But this is a 70% merino and 30% nylon, and you get 185 meters per 50 grams. And yeah, this is nice. It's soft. I've used this for ages and really happy with it. Yeah, it blocks out really nice as well. So no complaints there. So other than the colorwork being on 2.75 millimeter needles, I use 2.25 for the rest, just like all of my socks. So yeah, so you got to see a failed attempt at the Colorwork Cuff Club, but also a hopefully successful one. But I just want to thank Michaela again for gifting me this pattern, because it really is just so generous. So the next whip that I'm about to show you haven't seen before unless you follow me on Instagram. Then a few weeks ago, I did post an Instagram of the yoke of this sweater. I love this sweater so much. This has turned out so much more than I thought it was going to be. But this is the Laulu pullover by Sari Nordland, and it is a DK weight round yoke sweater with a lace and cable like detailing all over the yoke. It's super, super beautiful. And Laulu is actually the Finnish word for a song, which is cool. I like that Sari Nordland includes that information on the Ravelry page because I just think it makes it more whimsical and interesting. I love knowing the Origin of words. One of my friends, Erica, we were talking about that last night. And yeah, it's always so interesting learning about the origin of words. But anyway, this is what I have done so far, and I've made quite a lot of progress, as you will see. But here is my Lalu pullover by Sari Nordland. It's so gorgeous. I think this is the front or the back? I think that's the front. It's so beautiful. Like I said, it has these cable and lace details all over the yoke. It's so pretty. It's so lovely and textured. Oh, look at that. So here are some of the cables up close, twisting, and then you've got the lace in between. Super beautiful. Really lovely. It looks extremely detailed, especially when you wear it. It's really quite jaw-dropping and beautifully stunning. It looks very detailed. But one surprising thing about this is that the actual repeat, like the number of stitches in the repeat, is not actually that long. So although this may look extremely complicated for a jumper, I can watch TV and knit this with no issue whatsoever because the repeat is actually quite short. So that's just a little tidbit that you would not know looking at it, that you could actually, it's a TV knit, which is super surprising for something so detailed, because like the poet scarf, which actually kind of looks less complicated, that I need to pay more attention to than this whole yoke. Now I'll go through a few more details in regards to the construction of this sweater. So it is a round yoke sweater. So you start by casting on for the collar, and then you knit the length of the collar because it'll eventually be folded down. Now I attempted 3 times to fold down and knit this, and I, for some reason, while I was doing this, just kept stuffing it up. I think I tried it 3 separate times. I knit the collar, tried to knit it down together, tried to knit 2 together, tried it so many different ways, and I don't know why, but I just couldn't do it. I have knit those types of jumpers before. My Lume sweater, or Lume by Sari Nordland, is the same kind of construction, and I did that fine. I don't know why with this particular jumper at that particular couple of days when I was trying to do that, I just couldn't wrap my head around it. So I've just left it for now, and I'm going to sew it down, which I think will be good because then I'll be able to kind of control my tension a bit better to make sure that it's not super tight. But essentially that's what it'll kind of look like with it folded down. So it's not meant to be a funnel neck. It's so pretty. I just love it so much. It's so pretty. It looks kind of goofy, but it is really pretty. So essentially with a round yoke compared to like a European drop shoulder is that, yeah, you do start with the neck, you work increases out, and then you split for the sleeves and connect under the armhole so that you can knit the rest of the body in the round. It's all knit in the round seamlessly. It's really easy construction. There's no picking up stitches, so you don't have to worry about all of that. Now, one concern that people have with round yoke sweaters is that they tend to rise in the back, but Sari Nordland has given you the option to do short rows in the back underneath the textured yoke so that you can lift the neckline up a bit, and so it doesn't feel like it's strangling you or that the back is arching up a bit. So you can kind of see that that's where it starts there versus here, and then you've got like this here that I've done the short rows for. They're just basic German short rows, very simple, very easy. I actually really like doing short rows. Anyway, now all of the ribbing is 2x2 ribbing. I do that like that because for my size, which is size 7, you actually do 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, so on and so forth. And I think that's so that you can get the right stitch count and make sure that all of the cables do work seamlessly from the ribbing into the cable pattern, and then on the rest, like the cuffs and the bottom, you'll do normal 2x2 ribbing, which I really like to do because I find I don't do an Italian bind off when I do 2x2 ribbing. I just bind off in rib and it looks fine. So it's much easier when it comes to finishing a garment. But it is a cropped length, so I'm not going to do a split hem on this one. which is unusual for me. But yeah, you can see that I've made quite a bit of progress. So I've done the whole entire yoke, I've done pretty much the entire body, and I'm ready to start doing the ribbing. And then I'll put the stitches back on the needles for the sleeves and knit the sleeves. The sleeves are tapered sleeves, but I haven't decided whether or not I want to do it just a straight sleeve or not. I'm not sure yet. Now, I want to get into talking about the yarn because that is one of the most stunning features regarding this jumper. Now, the yarn that I'm using for this is actually gifted to me by Yarniecopia in collaboration with them for their September promo, which is Santa's yarn. So if you are not familiar with Yarniecopia, they are essentially a procurer of luxury yarns, and almost every month they feature a new luxury yarn brand and essentially are providing access to people like in Australia and New Zealand to access kind of these luxury yarns that aren't always available to us here. Now, for Santa's yarn, they are shipping internationally. So if you're in anywhere other than Scandinavia or the US, you can also order from them. So hopefully by the time that this video is out, it will be September, so hopefully they'll have everything up on the website. You can literally get any Santa's yarn in any color from like their entire range, which is so fabulous. They also have patterns and they'll have kits as well. Just like every month, there are minimum yarn quantities. Now, so for the Lena, the Tin Lena, the Mandarin Petite, the Mandarin Natural, and the Duo, it's a 5-ball minimum yarn quantity, and then for the rest of the range it is 10 balls. So just keep that in mind when you're ordering, to make sure that you are aware that there is a minimum yarn quantity and you do have to order in a certain amount of ball types. This is like obviously to make sure that you have enough yarn for your project, because the pre-order period is only open for a month, so you won't be able to after that month, like unless there are some leftovers, but it's, you know, you're risking that, be able to order more if you need like an additional couple of balls or something. But it's also to save on shipping because it all gets like shipped together, so it's better for the environment. If you had watched my Bendigo vlog, you would know that Erica, who is the genius behind Yarniecopia, we're friends and we got to know each other a bit better when we were in Bendigo and spent some time together, and that was really great. And prior to going to Bendigo, she reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to do a Santa's yarn collab? I have this yarn that I think you would really love. And when she showed me the yarn, I was blown away because I had been wanting to knit a sweater out of this color for the longest time. So this color here, there are 2 yarns in this. There is the Santa's yarn, the Sunday in 4626 in Shocking Pink, and there is Santa's yarn Alpaca Folgatrad in 4628. So these are this gorgeous, gorgeous pink color. So lovely, and I have had this colorway from Santa's yarn on my list for the longest time. I knew that I always wanted to make like some sort of textured cable kind of sweater. I was originally thinking something like with cables all over, because it's just such a beautiful pink. It's so beautiful and shocking and bright, and I just love it so much. And I've used Santa's yarn before. I used it in my test knit for the vest that I did for Crabea. I can't remember it now, but it's like a limey green, and it's so nice, and it's just like a classic lovely soft merino. And then I've never tried the Folgatrad before, but it's like a lovely lace alpaca. It's kind of a bit fluffy too. It's not as fluffy as a mohair, but it just adds a little bit of fluff and a little bit of drape. I usually use like a more fluffy alpaca lace, but I really like using alpaca because it just does add that little bit more flow or drape rather than just something that's 100% merino wool. And it fluffs up the more that you use it and when you block it, because I did a swatch and it looks really lovely. And I think it worked just so fabulously with this cable design. Oh, so pretty with the lace and the cables. I'm just so obsessed with the color. When I put it on, I knew instantly I was in love with it. Oh, it's just doing everything for me. This is like obviously a more warm tone pink, but I think this cool tone pink just suits my skin tone a lot better. Plus, with these kind of sweaters that do have a really detailed textured yoke, I feel like sometimes when it's not more of a classic cable or simplistic cable and it is a lot heavier in the detail, there's a really fine line that you have to ride between looking like a doily and not looking like a doily. And so I feel like if I did this in kind of like this Laulu pullover in like a cream color or a beige color or something that's like very neutral, it kind of dates it a bit and makes it look a bit doily-ish. Whereas doing it in like a bright, vibrant color, like this pink, for example, or like a royal blue or like a bright green or something, just like adds like some, you know, just makes it a bit more youthful, you know what I mean? And makes it look less like doily-like. So that's a little tip. If you're worried about making something that's going to look like a doily, pick a really bright color, because it's just going to add that bit of kind of like edge into it, I guess. I don't know if I'm describing that properly, but that's how I believe. And it's just so stunning and I cannot wait to finish it. I really should just sew down this color before I do the sleeves, but I'm just so in love with it. And when I got my yarn, it came in this really gorgeous Yarniecopia drawstring bag, which is perfect for a project bag. Oh, you can see I've got my stash of Santa's yarn in there, the Sunday and the Alpaca Folgatrad, and just so stunning. These come in 50-gram balls. So the Santa's yarn Alpaca Folgatrad comes with 400 meters per 50 grams. And the Santa's Yarn Sunday comes in 235 meters per 50 grams. Now, if you are wanting to stay up to date with the latest collaborations from Yarniecopia, I would highly encourage you to sign up to their mailing list, because that's when they send out their updates on what yarn brands they're going to be working with and all the information regarding that. Because like I said before, they do every other month or so a new yarn collaboration, so it's really exciting. It's not always going to be Santa's yarn, it's not always going to be I think they just did Bijay Bouche, which is really lovely. I might be picking up some of that if they have any left over, but yeah, they just did Bijay Bouche, which was really stunning. I saw Elsa from We Are the Wool People. She's making this beautiful jumper for her father in the Bijay Bouche, and it looks stunning. So the needle sizes that I'm using is 3.25 millimeter for the ribbing and for the lace and the cables. Now I went up a needle size just because my tension was a little bit tighter than what the gauge that Sari Nordlund was getting in her samples. So I just went up 0.25 of a needle size, and then I am doing 3.75 for stockinette. So thank you so much to Yarniecopia for gifting this beautiful yarn so that I could make my dream jumper. So we have now come to the very last whip, and this is an update. You've seen this one before, but this is my Clara collar cardigan by Famke, or Mippy the label. And I think last time you saw this, I had done one sleeve, or had nearly done one sleeve. Like I had just had to cast on one sleeve. And now I am pretty much halfway through the other sleeve, which is good. So these are balloon sleeves. So if you haven't seen this before, I would recommend going to podcast episode 20, because that's when I first show it and I go into great detail about the different aspects of the sweater, but I'll just give you like a quick recap for now. But this is an Aran weight cardigan with a scalloped lace collar and balloon sleeves. It's worked from the top down flat, obviously because it's a cardigan, and you start at the back and then you work your way down and pick up stitches along the shoulder, create like a little cap, and then you pick up stitches for the sleeve. So it's more that traditional European drop shoulder that I was talking about before. And I'm knitting the size extra large, and it's so cute. It's just like a perfect bright red cardigan. It's been kind of sitting to the wayside, but I really love it, and it's so soft. So soft and squishy. Now the yarn that I'm using for this one is the Chaska Acu lace in 1004. I'll grab that actually. Which is this one, which is this beautiful 75% alpaca suri and 25% silk. And then I'm pairing it with the Knitting for Olive merino in the color Red Currant, and I'm holding this double because it is an Aran weight. So I'm holding this one double and this one with it. So you get three different yarn strands technically. And that's because this is quite a large gauge. It's a 16 stitch gauge and you're knitting it on 5mm needles. So I had to try and make an Aran, but I'm very excited to finish this sleeve so that I can move on to the lace collar, because the lace collar is really what makes or breaks this cardigan. It's so beautiful and I'm very excited to get to that point. So that's just a little quick update that I am working away on it. Got the sleeve going, so I'm very excited to also have that get close to being finished, because pretty much after the lace collar, I think the only thing left to do is the double knit button band, actually, because I've done the whole body. I bound off at the bottom. The sleeve, you pretty much just like knit in a whole straight circle tube until you get to the cuff, and then you decrease, knit that. Yeah, I think the only thing left after the collar is the button band, and then I'm done and then I can wear it. I probably should finish it soon because we are getting close to spring and it's been such lovely weather, although it is still cold, but it's getting very close to getting warm and I want to be able to wear it before then. Alrighty, so that is everything I have to show you today. I really appreciate you sticking around while I go through all of my whips, some new, some existing. Yeah, it's great to be back, to be honest. I was really stressing myself out about how long it had been since I made a video. I can be a bit critical sometimes and I can be a bit stressed, and when that kind of stuff happens, I tend to self-isolate a bit. So, which is why I haven't been posting much on Instagram and things like that. But I'm very glad to be going back into it. Obviously, I'm trying not to put too much pressure on myself, so I'm not going to be like, oh, in 2 weeks there's going to be another video. But I am going to be obviously sharing all of my knitting and stuff like that. I'm trying to think of more videos that I did, kind of like my cast on addiction one, because I really had fun making that little skit at the front of that video. If you hadn't seen it, I do a little skit with my boyfriend about my knitting cast on addiction. It's a bit of fun and I really had a good time making that. So I'm trying to think of other things like that, other videos that I can make where I'm having like fun making it, because I do like filming, but the editing process in it isn't as fun. So something that I can have fun with editing is interesting to me. So I'm just having a bit of a think about that, you know. And if you guys do have any like videos or anything that you want to see from me, feel free to comment down below what those videos are, because I always like getting inspiration from you guys. So yes, anyway, I will let you guys go and have a great rest of your day. I hope all of your knitting is successful and you don't have to frog anything, and I will see you guys in the next video. So bye!